the first speaker, taking a sociological, it's difficult to pronounce, political approach. He will give us some insights into the actors in international tax law making and customary law formation. Who are exactly the actors? What preferences do they articulate? How do they interact? And how are they influenced by their institutional environment? It's of course a very fascinating observation. I don't know how you want to do research on that, how the actors are indeed influenced by the institutional environment. You can take many perspectives. So I guess since you're amongst lawyers, you will have to explain a little bit about research methods from a sociological and political perspective. Then TRICI-Law, I pronounced it correctly, TRICI-Law. You will focus on what we call the conference of the parties. I guess that's a new phenomenon.
Yeah.
And that is because we have now a multilateral instrument, which is a multilateral tax treaty, which has been signed by 89 countries as of somewhere this month, and including all the OECD member states, but also developing countries, UN member states. And, well, this is all about aggressive tax planning, to prevent aggressive tax planning. Article 31 of this MLI gives the parties, I read that, the provision is it gives the parties to the treaty the possibility to convene a conference of the parties for the purpose of taking any decisions or exercising any functions as may be required or appropriate under the provisions of the convention. So apparently there is a procedure set up so that if the parties to the multilateral instrument are not happy, then they can discuss on how to change it. Is that more or less the idea? Your task to introduce us to this phenomenon, yes, and whether or not what they will discuss and how they will proceed can be, is that customary law?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Then we move on to Dirk, and Dirk wrote his dissertation on this multilateral instrument, and he works also for the Ministry of Finance, besides his working for Leiden University. So he had to develop views on international customary law for that job, I guess, as well. Not that much.
No, we discussed it.
You discussed it. That's the other thing. Okay, anyway, you do have your own views on how we will proceed during the next years, how this customary law that is in a rudimentary stage in tax law will develop now that we have the MLI. And then finally, Emma zooms in to her favorite topic, being the principal purpose test, which is an anti-tax avoidance measure, and what we may call a general anti-avoidance rule. And, well, all the signatories to the MLI embrace this concept. In the Netherlands, we also have it in the form of vrouwslegis already for years, and I guess most other countries also have some form of GAR implemented either in the law or in case law. Anyway, now that we have a MLI, the idea is that there may be some approximation, some harmonization, and that may lead to some customary international law. You can write a whole dissertation about that, I guess. So, let me give the words to Frederik Heitmüller.
Yeah, thank you very much. To consumption, just
So how many lawyers does it take to administrate?
But who has solved the problem now?
It reminds me of our eldest son who's very good at computers. So when he was at high school, all the teachers always were having problems with the screens, and Patrick had to help all the teachers instead of sitting in the classroom. He was the assistant. Sometimes I think I wish I had Patrick here.
Yeah, maybe I'm not that useful for this, but maybe for something else. So I want to give a little bit another perspective, which is not so much rooted in legal analysis, but more in a sociological, political analysis, was transcending the rules. And I want to talk about actors in international tax lawmaking. By actors, of course, I mean the societal, political actors, and not the actors that they. And at the end, I will provide some food for thought, maybe on what it could mean on with regards to customary law. This is part of research I'm conducting within the GLOBTAXGOV project that was introduced by Adrian, and it's maybe what we can understand by this socio-legal approach that Adrian talked about. But first of all, the object of our research is the BEPS project, which could be described as a moment of international cooperation to reduce the phenomenon of base erosion and profit shifting. So the aim was that states cooperate together to reduce mismatches between their country's tax system, to increase transparency, to facilitate dispute resolution between countries. And it could be understood that we are moving towards a global tax system with less frictions between domestic systems. And we can say, it's a success because more than 120 countries have signed up. But in order that we can really say this, we have to expect that something like this happens. So a procedure where the OECD drafts this plan, countries implement it, and then businesses comply with it. But what we seem to see, or what commentators on the project seem to see, is more something like this. So we have a plan, but what countries do is going a bit in different ways. So there's some quotes to illustrate it from, for example, the Prime Minister of Belize, who doesn't seem to want to take this so much serious, and on the other hand, responsible for the implementation in the EU, Pierre Moscovici, who seems to be very fond of this project and maybe wants to go further than what's actually intended by the OECD. So I think it makes sense to not think about it like in this way, but rather that way.
You're good at making
This is you don't need to look at everything in detail. What is going on there? It's more my personal brainstorming that I'm using in order to find out who are the actors that are in the sphere and how are they relating to each other. So we've.
What are the dog and the elephant doing here?
These are the political parties. It's the symbols of the Democratic and the Republican Party.
Okay.
So they definitely, I think, play a role. But I will go into some of these actors a bit in detail. But it's just to give you an idea what I think is more or less how we should or how we can understand this process. So. But first, some background about why such an approach and why it means. So I made a slide about what a political sociology approach to law can mean. So what I think, and maybe you will correct me because it's maybe a simplified view, what a legal approach is that it is more concerned about what the law is, what it means, how it should be interpreted, and maybe what it should be ideally, or how you can criticize it. While an empirical political science or also historical, sociological approach would rather ask, why is it interpreted as it is? Why was it enacted? Why is it changed? What leads to the law as we see it? And for this, we can come up with different reasons. So, for example, historians might rather look at past dependencies and say, yeah, the law is like this because some years ago, it comes from a long history which led to how it is now. Or we can more focus on ideas that lead to it, or to actors and how they act rationally, and that's going to be the focus of what I'm looking here. So as who are the actors that have an influence on international taxation? Why? What do they want from the tax law? How do they interact with each other, and how in turn they're influenced? And unfortunately, there's a growing body of literature dealing with specific kind of actors and looking at what they are doing, what they want, and also some other good empirical resources, such as, for example, input that is given to consultations by the OECD on what the BEPS process should look like, so where actors express their views. And so I'm going to talk about a few of these, and we'll start with maybe the core, the traditional ones. So we have the companies, which are the taxpayers, who of course prefer a lower tax burden because tax is a cost. They also want a low compliance burden in order not to pay so much for paying their taxes. They want legal certainty. And but the question is, are they a homogeneous actor? Can we conceive of them as one political entity? And I think there could be potentially a conflict between domestic and multinational taxpayers, because because companies are also in competition with each other and do not want that other companies are treated favorably. So that could lead to different outcomes here. What sources of power do they employ? So they have high financial resources, so they can come up with a lot of material, give a lot of input into political debates. Of course, they have good arguments because they are important for the economy, they provide jobs. And they have other good arguments, for example, that they are mobile, they are not bound to one country but can divest and move away. And other sources are that they have created some other sorts of actors to speak with one voice, which are, for example, business associations, professional organizations, which speak on behalf of all companies, or attempt at least to do so. Then we have state institutions, the tax administration, which is responsible for collecting revenue. The Ministry of Finance, I think, has a bit different responsibility. It has its primary goal to maximize economic growth, and therefore it needs to balance revenue collection with attracting and retaining investment, being responsive to what companies, for example, ask. And the source of power is, of course, the legal authority and also the financial resources they have as being financed by the state budget. The third core actor, I would say, are the advisors, which are a little bit different than the two others. They have, on the one hand, they serve their clients and need to also pursue this goal of lowering tax burden or defend the client in front of a court. But they also have a stake in the judicial system. For example, in Germany, they are considered as organs of the legal system and need to take care that the law is respected. And they, of course, also have no preference for, while the companies would like to have ideally no tax, that's not what the advisors want. So it's a bit different. And the source of power. because it's the business.
Okay, no tax